Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And I'm super excited for today's episode of the Millionaire Podcast. Okay, so this is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. I'm going to be interviewing my main man, a very close friend and a Dealer Synergy client, Danny Zaslavsky. Danny, say hello to everybody, please.
Hello. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for encouraging me to be here. I'm excited.
All right, so this is you, handsome, and what we're going to do is, I just want to put this up here. You are the dealer and general manager of Country Hill Motors. It's a dealer group in Kansas City, multiple rooftops. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right, so again, some people know who you are because you're famous for the whole Ground Zero for Car Gurus and some other things like that. But just really quickly, because we don't have a lot of time on this interview, just kind of give us your automotive background and go from there.
Yeah. I'm a child of immigrant parents. My parents came from Ukraine in '79, and my dad started a car dealership in '83, the year I was born. And then when I was 14, I started in the company, and like a lot of immigrant kids, just went through the whole thing. I mean, washed cars and tried to fix cars, wasn't very good at it, but then sold cars and really found my niche when I was able to help market our dealership. And then through that megaphone of bringing consumers to our dealership, then came the opportunity to solve the problem of how are we going to take it to the next level? How are we going to sell more cars? How are we going to buy cars in a way to increase our gross per copy? And then obviously so much change has occurred in the car business to be able to stay relevant and be able to own our turf, own our backyard.
Danny, move the camera back a little bit because it's cutting off half your forehead. That's perfect right there. Okay. That's amazing. Now, there's certain things that really impress me with you. Let's start with the fact that you have zero floor plan. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's pretty significant because, let's just put it out there. How many millions of dollars worth of cars do you have between your different stores?
$6 million right now. So we have $6 million worth of inventory between two stores, and we have a centralized reconditioning center that's located between the two stores where all of our cars go. We call it our little factory. Where everything gets certified, reconditioned, and detailed, and then marketed. And it's taken a lot of time. This has been a slow process to be able to acquire, sell, have the capital to reinvest.
Okay, but that's insane. That's not normal to have zero floor plan, and then you also own the real estate. You are not the typical used car dealer because you own your own inventory, you own your own real estate, and you're accumulating massive amount of wealth. And this is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. So I want to talk about money. Okay, so let's just start with simple questions like bullet, like boom, boom, boom. For a salesperson, how can a salesperson gross on a car? How can they earn gross? How can they max gross instead of give cars away? Go.
They have to be, first and foremost, I can teach process. I can't teach character. That is it. So you have to have a commitment to excellence. I know it sounds cliche. I know it sounds simple, but you have to wake up every single morning with a commitment to excellence. And then it's okay if you don't know something. The information's out there. You're going to learn it. But showing up to the office and setting a plan in place where already the foundation is laid, you have a commitment to excellence. Now you're going to infiltrate what my inventory is, set a plan, understand my customer base, and grow it from there. And create partnerships within your own store, whether it be the internet sales manager, internet sales coordinators, your management team, as well as the salespeople in your organization that you're going to team up with in order to hit their goals and your goals.
Okay, now what about as a salesperson? So you have an amazing team under you. You've got some people that are hitting stupid numbers. If I work for you on the floor and I said, Danny, look, I'm trying to become a millionaire, man. I'm trying to get where you are at in life. I want to be successful. Hell, maybe even open up my own dealership one day. How do I make money in car sales? Teach me, how do I make money? I understand how I make gross. That's what that answer was. But how do I personally increase my income and make $15,000, $18,000, $20,000 in a month on the floor?
Be your own brand. It's really easy for a consumer to get upset with my business because of a bad experience. It's really hard for me to make good on that bad experience as a car dealership, because the car dealership has a cumulative voice. However, a person that sells a car and has its own brand, it's significantly easier to fix that issue if there is an issue and call and say, hey, I screwed up, let's make it better. And then you own that customer for life. And so it's so important that the salesperson is their own brand. And that's the foundation of it. And you go from there, whether you're using Build a Brand, whether you're creating blog posts, however you're building your referral business, your prospecting, your leads that you're getting in store, and create a strategy.
Do you have anybody on your team that's really great about building their own brand within your brand?
Yeah, Julio.
Tell us about him.
So Julio started with us and had no automotive experience, but we saw right away in him that he had an awesome presence on camera. He's funny, he's kind, he's personable, he breaks the ice really quickly, and he has a curiosity about life, obviously about cars. And first and foremost, he's easy to talk with. And I always talk about in our organization that we don't sell cars, we solve problems. And so when people come to us, we want to be able to solve their problem, find what they want, need, can't afford. Those three things: want, need, can't afford. And so when we're doing our needs assessment with the customer, then that takes us into being able to identify what inventory they can buy or they want to buy, and then taking the team to then help them to the end, which is our finance office, our box, right, to be able to deliver the car. So Julio has taken that to heart. If you go to buyitfromjulio.com, you can see his website, and you can see that he's already started to build his book of business. One thing that I didn't think about years ago, when a salesperson goes out in the world and they say, oh, come buy a car from me, or they go to their church, or they go to their youth group, or whatever they're a part of, they say, come buy a car to me. And this customer says, well, where do I go? They say, oh, go to countryhill.com. Well, shoot, what's the likelihood of that customer actually finding me? Because probably that lead's going to go to the BDC, and then it's going to get round robin to somebody else, and all of a sudden I didn't get the customer. So you got to be able to give them some plumbing, right, to be able to attach to the salesperson. And the way you do that is by having their own website linked to our inventory, being able to give them the opportunity to have real testimonials that live out there. The consumers can see their book of business and how they solve problems for other people, and be able to start generating referral and repeat business. Because, the 15 deals a month that are going to come naturally, we're going to get those all day long. But how do we get to 30 or 40 deals a month for a salesperson? Well, you do it by that type of strategy.
Okay, so can you share some highlights of what Julio's accomplished? Like, what's the most amount of cars he sold in a month? What's the amount of referrals? Because I know it was like 4 in a week or something crazy. Give us some of his amazing highlights that this, brand new car guy to the automotive industry has just crushed it with.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you an example of something, Sean, you and I worked on together, which was the referral business. And if you go on our website, countryhill.com, you'll see that we have 3 call to actions: buy from us, sell to us, refer to us. So on the referral, we were paying bonus bird dogs, right, to people. And you challenged me. You said, Danny, why are you paying $50 or $100 for a referral? I mean, you're spending 4 times that, 5 times that on marketing for customer acquisition costs. So I said, okay, let's take the risk. So we upped that to $250, and we said we're going to pay anybody who refers a client $250 when we sell them a car. So first thing I know, money's nice, but it really is not about money. If I refer a friend of mine to come buy a car from you, Sean, I want to make sure they have a good experience. There's nothing less that I want is for you to call me and say, dude, where'd you refer me to, right? So we know that we wanted to create a really awesome experience. And what makes it better than an awesome experience? When I get a check, $250.
Right.
Well, we had to have the plumbing for it, right? And so refer to countryhill.com is the site that we created. You can drive traffic to salespeople. You can do it also through the third-party site that Julio's doing it on, which is Buy It From Julio. But then you can start thinking outside of the box, which is go on Facebook, go on Craigslist, and start creating opportunities for people to generate income recurring customers. And he started making ads on within Hispanic Facebook groups, within his own community. And all of a sudden, friends and friends of friends started sending him customers and saying, hey, you know, I heard my neighbor looking for a car. I'm going to send them to you. And they go on a form bill that says, what's your name? Where do we send the check? What's their name? And how do we get a hold of them? And tell us a little bit about them. Really simple form. Then the lead comes in. We're able to call and say, hey, George, this is Andy with Country Home Motors. Your neighbor Bill wanted me to call you, and I think you're looking for a minivan for your family. I'm ready to work with you. What can I know? And so you're already working with a down funnel customer, and that is taking Julio to the next level.
So what was the most amount of cars you sold in a month so far?
32.
32 cars in a month. What's the most amount of referrals you got in 1 month?
This is shooting from the hip, but 50.
Holy crap. 50 referrals in a month. That's insane. Okay, let's transition to this, and I'm going to talk about money. Obviously, if you own multiple dealerships, you have $6 million in inventory, no floor plan, you own the real estate, you're cashed up. Can you give some tips to a salesperson? Let's say a salesperson starts getting these figgity fat checks. Let's say they're making, $10,000, $12,000, $50,000 in a month. What can you advise them? Because the Americans are financially illiterate. Robert Kiyosaki wrote that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it was an eye opener because, most people, until that book was written, really never had good feedback on how to spend money, what to buy, what not to buy. So I'm assuming you're a multimillionaire, but damn sure your family is. So, what do you advise people that just come into money on the floor? What should they spend and what should they not buy?
So the first thing is you got to have a plan, and you got to know that plan is going to change, because it just does. And so, like I explained about what Julio's doing, I want to set the record straight. I'm doing the same things, right? I'm looking for referral business. I'm using the same strategy. So this isn't something that I'm preaching and not doing on my own. But you got to have a plan to continue to evolve and imagine your future state. Where do you want to be? If your future state is to be a sales manager, then reverse engineer and identify how you're going to get there and what it's going to take. And know that it's going to change. But once you start moving in the direction that you want to go, you're going to start creating the partnerships. You're going to start creating the capital. You're going to start creating, getting the tools and the knowledge in order to be able to get there. And then what's going to happen? You're going to arrive, and then you're going to have a new set of goals and a vision for your future state, because that's the nature of life. We want to make sure that we continue to grow. So that's what I would say is write it down. Write down where you want to be and start creating whether it's a bank account where you're saving money, or whether because you want to open up a store, whatever that is, reverse engineer and start piling the things you need to get there.
Okay, so specifically though, again, that's all great feedback and I love it, but I want to hear from you, like a successful person that's got money, what not to buy. Should I buy fucking rims? Should I turn on and go buy a house? Should I turn on and buy, things that are liabilities that depreciate versus, rental properties? I want some money advice, man. I mean, like, you're rich. I'm trying to get rich too.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I hear you. Let me tell you what I did. So in the moment, it never feels like you're making it happen until you look back and you start to see, oh my gosh, these things are actually paying off. I got a rental property. That was my first investment. I bought a cheap $40,000. To me, in the day, it was a lot of money, but I bought a rental property, and I figured out how to manage that rental property. And then over time, I figured out how to not have to manage it myself, but be able to have somebody else manage it and get the income from it. That taught me so much. And I have that rental property to this day. And it pays, I think, like $600 a month is what it nets. So it's not a lot of money, but I'm really proud of it because it's one of the first things I did, and I did it well. So I didn't come in trying to save the world. I focused on one small thing, and I was able to accomplish it, and it was able to be sustainable. So then you continue, and you see that you've worked so hard to get that $600 of recurring revenue every single month to be able to get. How badly do you want to take that money and spend it on a pair of rims? you worked hard for it. So probably not,
Right.
because those rims are going to get dinged up, especially if I'm driving it, and then the money's gone. So I want to take that cash opportunity that I've created and create another opportunity until you reach a tipping point. And I'll tell you, that tipping point really is only when you can step back and say, okay, it's time that I buy a house. But even when you do buy that house, you're going to look at it differently. You're going to look at it of what's my future state? If I buy this house today, what's it going to be worth in 3 years when I sell it? Am I losing my butt, or am I buying something that's an asset that I'm investing in that is also going to earn money? And then you develop those habits of making good decisions in order to increase your wealth versus burn cash on things that don't matter.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay, so being fiscally responsible, having a plan, and being able to buy things that are going to benefit you, making your money work for you instead of just working for money. Here's what I found is that most millionaires in the United States do not make millions of dollars a year. They make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, but they know they know what not to buy. They know what to buy. They know how to get their money to invest, to work for them. They've got passive income. They diversify income coming through. I love it. Okay. So now I've heard, like Grant Cardone talks about, invest in yourself, invest in your business, and invest in things that are going to, provide residual streams of income. So let's start with that. What do you advise salespeople, managers, or other dealer principals to do to invest in themselves? What can they do to invest in themselves?
Knowledge. That is the very first thing.
Like Bradley on Demand, Dealer Synergy, IS20G. Talk about it. Let's talk about it.
You gotta get uncomfortable. You gotta get around people. I used to not understand why this guy or this girl was going to help me. I was like, well, what's in it for you to help me? Well, the answer is people want to share their knowledge, and that gap of knowledge is the difference between succeeding and not succeeding. So you want to be in an environment that also that permits you to do that. So if you're a salesperson, talk to your general sales manager, talk to your GM, talk to your owner, and say, I envision myself in the future being a GM of a store, and I want to be able to prove that I can own at this salesperson game. But in order to be able to do that, I want to go to ISG 20. Right? I want to be able to meet these people. I want to be able to understand how they do it. And then here's what I've learned over the years. The people that I idolized 10 years ago today are my friends. And I don't look up to them. I look at them because they're now my peers and I respect them. But my vision of a future state continues to grow. And so therefore I continue changing the 5 people I hang out with the most, because I want to continue to elevate my own life. And so going to educational seminars, going to NADA, going to Digital Dealer is really important. The next thing I'll tell you, I learn the best when I'm forced to teach, okay? Because you got to be able to, in order to teach, you got to be able to have the knowledge, right? And so if you challenge me, which you have before, and said, hey, Danny, I want you to speak at ISG 20 this year, and I want you to speak on this topic. Well, I may know 20% of what I need to share, but you can bet that I'm going to research, I'm going to call people, I'm going to learn, and then I'm going to hyper-focus by creating, whether it's a PowerPoint, a Google Doc, whatever I need to know, so I can get up there and I can be the industry expert. But it's not that I had the knowledge when you asked me. It's that you gave me the opportunity to teach. And so imagine that in your store. If you're a salesperson, and what you can offer your managers, what you can offer other salespeople, what you can offer even porters in your store, and what you can teach them, and how much that's going to teach you, both in the way you engage other people, in the way that you lead, and you start to get to flex those muscles.
Man, this is, people, please rewind this podcast. This is really, really, really powerful. Okay. And so that's how you invest in yourself, by self-education, by, being able to learn things that's outside your comfort zone. then building your brand, basically investing in yourself, like the Julio sells it, your own website, your own marketing, your own advertising. And then Danny, you gave a great example about what to invest in, real estate, or rental property, et cetera. This is amazing. Can you just talk about, I guess in closing, wrapping up, how truly amazing the automotive industry is, that you can make as much money as you can earn? Talking about how your father came over from Ukraine, from Europe, Eastern Europe, and was able to come over to the United States and build a multi-million-dollar, enterprise. It's insane. So you've got to be like the spokeschild for the fucking success, like being all you can be in the automotive industry. I want you to fucking pitch and sell the freaking podcast listeners on stop bullshitting, stop wasting your time. You have the opportunity to make as much money as you can earn. True or false? Talk about that.
Absolutely true. Okay, so I will tell you that the certainly things have changed with the internet and information and so forth, but the opportunity to find where you can make money and find ways to grow, I think today is easier than it was when my dad came to the United States. So he came over in '79. He was a cobbler. He fixed shoes for a living, and until one day he walked up the street and there was a small car dealership with like 10 cars on it, and he bought a car from Josh, the guy that was there, and then after that he just kept coming back and saying, like, I love this. I want to sell cars here. And my dad started selling cars, and Josh didn't know how to buy more cars or how to take the next step. And my dad had an idea. He said, I'm going to buy a few Nextel phones. I'm going to pass them out to local dealers, and I'm going to ask them to page me when they're trading for a car. And then I'm going to tell them what it's worth. And guess what? That's a form of teaching. He had to learn how to bid cars. And this is back when you're carrying 3 black books in your pockets and hoping you're not making a mistake and trying to find out if the car has bald tires when you're bidding it over the phone, right? These are risks, but they're calculated risks. So he started doing that. We were able to get procurement going, and then we solved our own problem because we learned right away, if you can buy it right, selling it's not a problem. Okay, whether we sell it, whether we retail it, if you buy it right, selling's not a problem. And so think about that as a salesperson. What low-hanging fruit, what opportunities exist for you within your own car dealership to even help your sales managers understand what to buy so that you can sell better? You're on the front line. As a salesperson, you are on the front line of understanding what your customers' needs are. And so you have the best information to be able to say, this is the type of inventory that we need to be stocking in order for me to be able to maximize my time and my effort, which is important. So notice the energy that I bring. My time, my energy is important. And when salespeople come to me and say, Danny, you need to buy more $10,000 to $15,000 retail cars in this segment, I listen. Because I can see what they're selling and I can see what works. And those are also the people that get promoted within my organization or end up going and starting car dealerships of their own.
Hell yeah. So I do have people that have said that. And I don't know if we talked about this before or not, but if I'm a salesperson or I'm a manager and I got money, do you think it's a good idea that I might, buy a couple cars so I could flip, we put them on Facebook Marketplace, like used cars and make money? How hard is that to do?
So, a couple disclaimers. I've learned a lot from doing that myself. It depends on your culture at the dealership. And whether there's a conflict of interest there. It also depends on your state, how that works. But regardless, I love doing deals. So I say any opportunity you have to flex your muscles and get yourself a little uncomfortable and get an experience where you can buy something on your own and sell something on your own. There's so much knowledge to be had there. And I will tell you, you will gain a new level of respect for the organization that you work with and how much it takes to procure a vehicle, detail a vehicle, recondition a vehicle, market a vehicle, and then sell a vehicle. The way your conversation then goes when you're in front of your customer and are able to say, look, we worked really hard to get this. We did. And this is the process I went through to make it ready for you, just to get you to be able to see it. And now I'm so proud of this vehicle today because I can offer it to you at this price with these things we've done to it and so forth. So you're building the value, not because you've been trained to, but because you actually have experience.
All right, Danny, what I want to do is we have a hard stop at 12 o'clock. This has been an amazing podcast. Welcome back to to Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This is season 2. I'm going to leave you with the opportunity to close this out. What would you want to say to your people out there about success, money, wealth in the automotive industry? Last closing thoughts.
Simplest thing, start moving forward. Start taking risks. Start getting uncomfortable. Get yourself out there. Create your own brand. Then find your tribe, whether you're in the Hispanic community, the LGBT community, your church community. Find your tribe and start educating your tribe. Start being the industry expert within your own community and watch how much you're going to learn and grow and expand. And money will be the side effect of the results of your efforts. That's what I'll tell you.
Thank you so much, Danny. And with that being said, folks, this man is a rising star on the national stage. Danny Zaslavsky of Country Hill Motors. And thank you, Danny, for your time.
John, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like it, you love it, you want more of it, then don't wait for the next money show. Just go to bradleyondemand.com and take your career to the next level.